And Werner is very much looking forward, I think, to take over. But he should know that it's not always fun. It can also be challenging. So it's only 2 weeks ago that a friend of mine invited me to Berlin to his 50th birthday party. It was a good friend of university, super brain, super bright, and I thought, oh my God, finally I get back to this circle of lawyers, you know, being with 50 lawyers, all from big law firms. That must be really fun, right? I mean, that was the reason why I left that profession, actually. But okay, I thought you will have average IQ of 130 at least, and average EQ of maximum 70. And yeah, with that expectation, I went there and sat at the table, and then the first lawyer said, hey, by the way, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm CEO of Bayer in the Benelux. And he said, oh my God, Bayer, what a mess. But actually you don't seem to be high enough in the hierarchy to somehow realize what mess it is. That was the starting point, Werner. So sometimes you have a challenge, but I know you will have as an emotional and engaged discussion afterwards with those guys than I had. So foremost, I would like to thank you for the fantastic time. Indeed, I think for me it was the most enriching 5 years of my career, actually, and that's due to you guys. We have challenging times ahead of us, but we also have done quite a bit over the last 4.5 years. I think about the Innovation Day, right? I think most of you will remember that was quite an inspirational event, and then also served as role model for lots of other countries to follow. We did Covestro, we did New Bayer, we divested diabetes care, we did Monsanto, and are still working on that. So, you know, and it was always really smoothly done because you are so highly skilled and so professional. And therefore, I thank you for doing that. And therefore, I'm also extremely optimistic, you know, that also without me and with Werner there, you will go through the next months and years also in a very professional way. However, it will come with a lot of change. And for me, change is two-dimensional. The one dimension is the individual dimension, and the second dimension is the joint dimension, the team dimension. As to the first dimension, I have one plea. And the plea is that you realize you are not victims of your life. You all are managers. Actually, you are all top managers, because you're all CEOs of your lives. You're all CEOs of your lives. Be aware of that. Make use of the opportunities which come with change. That's very important. And you know that I'm a big fan of leadership stuff. And one of the most impactful tools I know, and which I would like to share with you, is the so-called CEO board table. And that's a metaphor, if you will. But please do that with your partners, with your teams. And it goes as follows. You are the CEO of your life, and now you can pick 6 seats. Not more, just 6. And there you place people who either had an impact on you, you know, shared values with you, which made you to the persons you are now. Or you put somebody where you said, okay, if I have really a challenge ahead, you know, that's the person, like a supervisory board member, you know, that should be there. And if you do that with your teams, I would be very happy. It can be extremely emotional, because it's not so easy. And don't do it just like that. Take your time. Take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you will see people taking the seat and disappearing again. And sharing that with the others, while your parents are sitting at the table or while they are not sitting at the table, I think that is quite impactful and bonding. So you can create trust with that. And then there is the team dimension. We are not working for Bayer. We are Bayer. We are Bayer. We make Bayer what Bayer is, right? And so that cultural dimension is also very important for me. So let me share a story. It's the story of Roseto. And Roseto is a little village in Italy, and people were quite poor there. And so in the 60s they decided to go to the US and to found a new Roseto in Pennsylvania. And then one day, weather like this, the cardiologist of Roseto is fishing with his best friend, who is cardiologist in the neighbor town. And Mr. Roseto is getting the great fish, and his friend nothing. And he said, "What's going on with you? Why are you so stressed?" "Yeah, you know, I have so much to do because there are so many heart infects, and so many heart attacks and cardiovascular diseases." And Mr. Roseto says, "That's really weird. I don't have that. I have a lot of leisure time. People are very healthy in my Roseto." So they said, that's too interesting to not dig into. So they digged into the data, and it was confirmed that in Roseto there was only half of the CV diseases, heart attacks, compared to the other town. So they asked academia to look into that, and then there were a series of studies, and they all came to the same conclusion for the root cause. One very clear causality. Now you might think, red wine, olive oil, no. Nutrition, no. The clear factor is the way how they lived in communities and lived family and cooperation as a value. They all would come at 6 at home, would then have barbecues with their neighbors. They would have the grandmas living in the house, and apparently this way of living had such a healthy effect on people there. Isn't that a wonderful story? And I didn't invent it, it's true. You can Google it. It's the so-called Roseto effect. And that's my plea to you on that team dimension, that you all, with you as the perfect mayor, create a Roseto. Will you do that? Promised? Very good. So, it's a fantastic time to be at Bayer. I think it's really the great, maybe, you know, in 5 years from now, we will look back at this day where Stefan came and the share price rose 8%, and we say that's the starting point where the spiral turned up again. So, I do believe that there are great prospects ahead. I had a wonderful time here, and with that, I wish you a most enjoyable barbecue. Thank you all for coming. And one last plea. Now, there's something which you shall memorize for me. And that's my favorite saying and motto of life. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is mystery. Today is a gift of God. And that's why we call it present. Thank you.